Now that I've constructed my lamp, I want to program the controller that's driving the lamp. To do that, I'm actually using an Arduino compatible controller, the Particle Photon, and so the code is going to look a lot like Arduino code. So in Arduino code, what we usually do is that each of the pins are controllable, and we can set them to be output pins, and then we can write to those pins using digital write commands to turn them on and off. So what I've done here is I've said to the compiler that whatever I'm hooking up my blue LED pin to, that should be pin number 1 on my controller. The red LED is going to be hooked up to pin number 2. If I change them here later on, if I decided to like add other LEDs or change the pin numbers, then I don't have to worry about changing those values through the rest of my program. So the first thing is, in Arduino compatible programs, we've got a setup function that runs only once when the device boots. And here I'm just telling the controller that I want both of the blue and red output pins to actually be outputs. They can actually be inputs as well, but we want them to be output pins. Now, in this sketch of the firmware, we've also got a loop function which runs continuously after setup is run. And what it's doing is it's using this digital write command to write a high value and then a low value to both of those LEDs. So first it turns the blue one on and turns the red one off, and then waits 1 second with the delay command. And then it turns the blue LED pin off and the red one on, and then waits 1 second. It does this continuously. Now, let's say I wanted to do something a little fancier and maybe have it fade in and out. Instead of doing digital write, I can use the analog write command to take any pin and write a value to it that's between, for this controller, 0 and 255. So for example, if I wrote it at did an analog write at 128, that would cause the pin to be halfway illuminated. So let's say I want to fade it in and fade it out. To do that, I have to use a for loop. A for loop is a common kind of loop that appears in C++ style languages that is broken into 3 parts. First, it has a variable that we're going to use inside of our loop called I, and it sets it to 0, so the loop is going to start at 0. It's going to continue to 255, and this last statement just increases the value of I every single time the statements inside of this curly brace are run. So if I set the analog write value to I, what's going to happen is it's going to write the value 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, all the way up to 255 in sequence over and over. And if I put in a small delay of maybe 3 milliseconds, I can see it glow and fade in. Now, if I want to fade it out, I can do the same thing. And I don't even have to modify the numbers of the loop to get it to count down. And here's a little trick. Instead of writing I, I'm going to write the difference of 255 and I, 255 minus I. So as I increases from 0 to 255, the difference starts at 255 when I is 0 and goes down to 1 when I is 254. So that's a way I can get it to fade out. So that's how I get my LED to fade in and fade out, and then it's going to go ahead and do its blinking thing again. So you've got a lot of options for how you want to choose to make your lamp glow or do different things, but that's how to program the microcontroller part of it.